What's up, you guys? Eric here, Driveline World's OK steering wheel holder. On a beautiful, man, this truck and trailer is tore up from the floor up. It's gonna get a wash tonight, but it's a beautiful Tennessee morning right now. I think it's about 58 degrees and it feels amazing. 5:30 or so in the morning, and I scored look at this rest area, man. Nice and quiet. Got me a nice parking spot, so I'm good to go. I'm gonna be spending some time here because I'm out of hours, and when I say out of hours, I mean out of hours. I got, like, right now an hour and a half on my 70, which is not a situation I like to be in really at all. The reason my truck is so jacked up right now is because I picked up a load in St. Albans, Vermont, and had to run from a blizzard. I say blizzard, not really a blizzard, but some really heavy snow, which forced me to go all the way down to Springfield, Massachusetts, and cut across that way. Added about 4 hours to my drive, which didn't help my clock situation, but it was either that or sit there for a full day and wait for that storm to pass, and I wasn't going to do that. Man, look at this, like, huge walking area. This is really good way to end a night. So I just delivered that load. I chose that load because it's not the greatest paying loads, as you prime drivers will know, but it gave me an extra $2,000 to get in this morning, deliver this morning on this pay period. So pushed me up close to $7,000 gross for the week. So that's the other loads that were on load choice, just weren't they weren't going to deliver on this pay period and had too much time. There's just some stuff that was like, nah, that's not going to work. Anyway, I had a great conversation, long conversation last night with, I don't know, 5 or 6 drivers. On Discord, I think I was probably on this call for probably 5 hours of my drive last night, and it was a really good conversation. It was interesting because everybody on the call had either drive for Prime or had driven for Prime in the past, and the two guys who had driven for Prime in the past didn't have anything bad to say. Had their reasons to move on, had some fair criticisms, but also had some complimentary things to say. And then, there was 1 or 2 that currently drive for Prime that certainly had some fair criticisms, but had some complimentary things to say. And then there were some that are just doing really well, myself included. And the truth is, like, you guys who watch my channel for a long time, for years, you know that 2020, the end of 22 and the first half of 23 were absolutely vicious to me and my trucks, to my fleet. There was about a year where I just got ripped to shreds on both freight and problems with drivers, just all of the above. Like, it was destructive to me. Financially is a really hard time. And, it put me back to square one of where I was at when I came to Prime. And when I came to Prime, I was broke as shit. And because I was with Prime, I was afforded the opportunity to claw myself out of that hole that I was in when I came here, and create a really good path for myself. And so I took the reins, got back on one of my trucks, and it took me about a year and a half to claw myself back to a good situation. And which is funny because it took me about a year and a half the first time that when I came to Prime and tried to get myself out. So all that to say, there's just so much negativity out there about Prime. And, again, there's a lot of like really good criticism. I talk about it on my channel all the time. There's a lot of very fair criticism. But ultimately, I am myself living proof, and I know a lot of drivers who are living proof that no matter how much shit is talked out there on the internet, and no matter how much I'm critical of Prime, the truth is, at the end of the day, it is a place where a lot of opportunities still exist. That's a fact. It's a place to where if you can really set yourself to learn the business, to learn the freight lanes, to go through the trials and errors of your own mistakes and your own successes and put in the time. And usually, frankly, it's about a year and a half that it's going to take you to really get to somewhere where going from no experience in this industry to a point where you've got a decent grasp. I'm not going to say you're going to be a pro, because even at 6 years and almost 1 million safe miles, I have so much to learn. You're always going to have stuff to learn, but I'm saying a year and a half is going to be enough to where you can start running a pretty profitable business. And I'm going to say it to all you haters out there, because I have comments in almost every single video of, why do you stay there? Why don't you move on? Do something different. Get out of there. Leave Prime. I'm telling you, there is opportunity. There is opportunity. And, I don't divulge what I make on this channel. There's been maybe 3 occasions where I've posted something. The last time I was talking about a $7,500 gross week, and I explicitly said in the video, I'm only stating it because there were people who were saying that type of gross week in reefer at Prime is not possible. And I was like, I just did it. So I don't really talk about that kind of thing very often on my channel, because there was so much criticism of that. You're lying, that's bullshit. And then there were people, it's because you're favoritism, because you're a YouTuber. And it's like, I made it very clear that's not a usual week. But I did get into a back and forth with someone the other day telling me that Prime pay is shit and that you can't make money at Prime. And he divulged his income to me. And I'm just thinking to myself, bro, I wouldn't work for that. I wouldn't work for that. And I didn't try to push back and say, here's my settlements or anything like that. Just let it go. But the money this individual is making is nowhere near close enough to what I make and what I need to make out here running OTR after all these years and everything that I've learned with Prime. Now, granted, the truck that I'm driving is paid off. My trucks are in a really good groove and rhythm. I just things are really flowing right now. But even before my truck that I'm driving was paid off, I was still really getting legs, and I was still making more than this individual was making. I'm not saying there's not places you can make that you can't make more money. Of course there are. And if you're out there thinking that you make more money than anyone else in trucking, you're not correct. There's always going to be something out there that pays better. So no, we're not the top dog. That's something I would never claim. All I'm saying is we're not the low end. We're not running all the cheap freight. We have cheap freight, but we've got great freight. Yes, I just ran a shitty $1.50 a mile load out of the Northeast. But you know what? Before that, I ran a $2,500 800 mile load, and I'm going to pick up a $2,500 1,180 mile load tonight. So, and a lot of these spot market guys in reefer right now, I talk to them every day. They ain't doing that. They ain't doing that. So there is opportunity. So I'm saying this to those of you who might be interested and you're wondering, is it a good place to be? And there's a John, is it Tillman? Sorry if I'm getting your name wrong. Let me know in the comments if I'm getting your name right or wrong. Bro, you're coming to having a conversation with him yesterday morning. You're coming to the right place. It's a great place to go to get your CDL, learn the business, and get your start. Tell your wife you're coming to the right place. You're gonna find things that aggravate the hell out of you. Training's gonna be tough. It is a hard couple months to endure. I've talked about it many times. You're putting yourself in a situation, there's no other scenario you would do that. You would not put yourself in a space that small with another dude for that amount of time, 24/7, in a pretty dangerous environment for several months, but in what you're about to do. But when you pay that price, there's a reward at the other side. So, I feel like I got to do one of these videos every now and then. They do really well. They get a lot of traffic long after the video goes up because I just constantly have to be refreshing new videos out there to let everybody know all the bullshit out there on the internet is just hate. I don't know why that is. A lot of it, there's maybe some drivers who've left that had a bad time or got, didn't run their business right when they were at Prime. Then there's other people that just hate mega carriers because they think we take all their freight, like all the freight belongs to it, like freight's freight. This is logistics, man. If you're mad at a mega carrier because you think it's taking all your freight, you're in the wrong business. Go suck your thumb somewhere else. Because this is freight and logistics, man. It's constantly changing. Prime picks up contracts and Prime loses contracts. Whoever you're hauling for probably gains freight and loses freight. That's the nature of the business. You win some, you lose some. You don't like the mega carriers are hauling freight that you think should be yours, cry harder. I don't know if that's the reason for all the hate, but there's a lot of hate out there. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of people at Prime that are very happy with, not necessarily with some of the things going on with Prime, but that's a whole different story. They're happy with the opportunity, and I would be one of them. So I'll tell you what is going to be interesting is the only problem with this load is I got recaps that start coming back tonight, but tonight I only get 8 hours and then I get 9 hours tomorrow night. So I don't have like 10 and 11 hour recaps for a couple days. So it's going to be kind of tough. I did not want to take a 34-hour reset though. That was not in the cards. Not in the cards. When I dropped that load off this morning, I was like, hey, I can't go right now. I don't have the hours to go do shit right now. But fine, let me get moving at least right after I get these recaps tonight. Or this recap. So when I get this 8 hours tonight, I'm going, man. I'm moving. I'm out here to make money. I ain't out here to sit parked. I do not want to do a 34. If I was going to sit somewhere, I want to go sit at home. You know what I mean? All right, guys. Be safe. Make good decisions. Always drive, thrive. Talk to y'all soon.